Hello again, and thank you for staying with us. We turn our sights to Ghana now, where the Chief Executive Officer of the country's cocoa board, Joseph Boahen, Aidoo, says the cocoa regulatory body has laid a concrete foundation for smooth investment in cocoa farmers across the country to complement efforts of the government. Now, the sector has faced various challenges due to the COVID-19 and changing weather patterns. To discuss the story further, I'm joined by Stefan Boafo, who's the Head of Public Affairs at Ghana Cocoa Board. Good to have you on the program, Stefan. Firstly, how has the ongoing Russia-Ukraine conflict indeed impacted Ghana's cocoa sector? Are there any specific challenges or even disruptions that have arisen as a result?
Thanks for the opportunity. So it came in two major forms. The first was how it affected the markets. Immediately the war and COVID, as you indicated, came in. You realize that there were some ports that were closed as a result of the war and then also of COVID. And there were some traders who, of course, exposed to these markets, and as a result of the situation, also slowed down their purchases. So it forced price down, obviously, because demand has reduced, and when there's reduction in demand, it has a rippling effect on price. However, we have crossed that bridge where consumption has picked up and production numbers have also decreased as a result of as a result of climate change, which you make mention of. So now production numbers within West Africa, the highest production region, has increased, and its rippling effect is that price has started increasing. So the effect on price, I can say, we've been able to cross that bridge at this point. However, there's another part which we've not been able to overcome at present, if you limit it specifically to the issue of the war in Ukraine and Russia. It has to do with fertilizers, because there's a high quantity of fertilizers that were imported from these two countries. And then even those who produce fertilizers locally in Ghana saw some of their raw materials from Ukraine. So as a result of that, it affected their ability to procure the raw materials they used in the production of the fertilizers. And another side of it is also that it affected the price they were able to procure on the market. And when price increase, it also has a snowball effect on how much we are also spending on the purchases or the procurement of fertilizers that aids the farmers in their production.
Now, we've also mentioned the effects of climate change, and of course this is a global concern, and it affects really mass industries, including the agricultural sector, and the effects are quite significant there. How has climate change affected Ghana's cocoa sector, and what measures are being taken to even mitigate its impact here?
Well, the climate change effect on Ghana has been very significant. 2 years ago, Ghana produced its highest volumes in terms of cocoa, over 1 million metric tons. The subsequent year, production numbers have dropped significantly to less than 700,000. And a major contributor to this is the climate change, because we experienced harsh weather conditions. And as a result of that, considering the fact that Ghana is largely producing cocoa, rain-fed agriculture, so experiencing strong harmattan, the effect is that we are unable to produce as huge numbers as we produced the previous years. So the effect of climate change on cocoa production and agriculture generally in Ghana is enormous. On the bit about what we're doing to mitigate the effect is to employ irrigation system where we are able to irrigate these farms during these harsh conditions. Of course, there are other factors that, like illegal mining, that is also affecting the forest zones, which eventually also has effects on the weather patterns in our country, and government is making every effort in ensuring that we are able to clamp down such that we are in a position to have a better rainfall pattern in the country and reduce the effect on agriculture and specifically cocoa.
Now, in a previous article from January, there were predictions about the cocoa sector's performance. Have those predictions been achieved? And can you even provide an update on the current state of cocoa production in the country?
Well, one of the things we do not do during the course of the year is to give specific numbers, because as a commodity, if you give out every detail of your production numbers, it gives room for traders to also speculate the market. But what we can say is that, yes, there's been quite some number of challenges, specifically the weather pattern, and then also illegal mining affecting some of our farms. But generally, we are pushing to achieve our set targets. But it's been a difficult one for us, considering the challenges I've enumerated a few seconds ago.
Now, the article also mentions the need for investment in on-field farming activities. Could you elaborate on the types of investment which are needed and the potential impact of cocoa farmers and overall production there?
So the kind of investment we are looking at is, one, to ensure that we are able to get the farmers fertilizers which affect their productivity, and that is one. The second one is also employing technology in ensuring that the farmers are able to improve productivity. We've realized that it's been labor intensive, where the use of mechanized systems have not been employed much, and most farmers in Ghana are aging, so the energy they require in using hard labor to perform the task at the farm, it's difficult for them to achieve that. So what we are doing is, for example, employing motorized slashers, which they use in weeding their farms, motorized pruners, which they use in pruning their farms, the irrigation, which I made mention of. Another thing that also to help them have access to water in the farms or in the entire year, that will help them improve their productivity, among others. These are some of the things we are doing. There's, of course, the hand pollination exercise, because we've realized that over the years, the managers that pollinate these farms have reduced, and it's also affecting how many pods we are able to realize from a tree. So now we are using a human intervention to be able to help pollinate the farms to improve the productivity of these farms. And these are some of the interventions rolling out to improve the productivity of our farms. And let me say that farmers who have taken on board these activities or these interventions are enjoying the benefit of it. There were farmers who hitherto were producing, say, four bags of 64 kilogram cocoa, now are able to do 20 and more. So indeed, the interventions have been very significant in terms of improving the livelihood of our farmers. But just as I indicated, there are other factors that are also going against their ability to be able to do more in their farms.
I want us to speak about the progress that's been made in meeting the new EU regulations through the Ghana Cocoa Traceability System. Are there any challenges or opportunities in complying with these regulations?
The major challenge we face is the cost to the farmer. The regulation comes with a lot of requirements of the farmers. On our part, as the regulator of the cocoa industry, we are ensuring at every stage to ensure that we meet these requirements. But these requirements also come with a cost, because there are a lot of bookkeeping the farmers have to do, the kind of services they will have to employ in ensuring that they are able to track every process of their work in order to meet the requirement. So the general problem we face as a production country is the additional cost that a farmer or the cocoa regulator will have to bear in order to meet these requirements. One of the things we have complained over the years is how much cocoa farmers receive as remuneration for their efforts. Considering the fact that this is also coming as an extra cost to them, then the motivation to stay in cocoa farming becomes minimal, because already there are farmers who feel that they are not getting remunerated enough, and there's a need for them to consider other land uses and other means of employment. So if this is also going to affect their income stream the more, then it is putting too much pressure, which they believe is not necessary. So that is the major problem we face. But in terms of putting the structures in place that ensures that we are able to meet the requirements, that we are very much assured that we will meet it.
I want us to zoom into the role of the Ghana Cocoa Board. I mean, how does the board plan to ensure the sustainability and indeed the long-term growth of the cocoa sector amidst these changing dynamics or market dynamics as well as the global demands as well there?
The major challenge we faced as an industry has to do with farmer income, because that is a realization that even though cocoa has been the backbone of the country for many years, there are other competing land uses that seem to push farmers into other crops and then also different land uses. So it is a challenge we face. In recent months, we've seen price at the world market improving. It's a signal that yes, indeed, the farmer income would also increase. But the question is, how sustainable is that? Unfortunately, the conversation about sustainability of the cocoa industry has largely been centered on ensuring that children are not on the cocoa farms, we are able to protect the environment, but very little is said of the farmer income, because the farmer is a rational economic being who, when he realized that considering the effort put in, he is not getting commensurate income from the business, then there's a need for the farmer to opt for a different business venture entirely. So that is a major challenge we face. Our expectation and hope is that the current price trends we are seeing will also be sustainable over the years, such that it will be a motivating factor to have the farmers on. On our part as a board, what we are doing is to also help the farmers improve their productivity. The various interventions I made mention of are some of the things we are doing to help the farmers to be able to produce more with the limited plot of land they have. One of the things we are also doing at present is introducing a pension scheme for the cocoa farmers. And the pension scheme is to ensure that when these farmers, after the period they've stayed in cocoa farming, go on retirement, there will be something for them to rely on. And I think it has been a morale booster for most farmers in Ghana who believe that this is a game changer for them. So these are some of the things we are doing to ensure that the farmers stay in business and they continue to stay with cocoa farming.
So you've spoken about the initiatives or programs in place to indeed enhance the welfare and living conditions of cocoa farmers in Ghana. But how is the Cocoa Board collaborating with stakeholders to indeed achieve some of these goals that you've mentioned?
Well, there's a strong collaboration between Cocoa Board and stakeholders, and which were born out of extensive discussion and collaboration with our stakeholders. So yes, it is not something that is done in isolation. It is something done based on effective collaboration with our stakeholders, like the farmers and other stakeholders within the value chain.
Now, in conclusion, what message would you like to convey or drive regarding the future of Ghana's cocoa sector and also its importance for the country's economy as well as livelihoods of farmers here?
Well, we believe that the EU regulation, which a lot of people were of the view or had strong fears that it was going to be difficult for Ghana to meet, we are on course to meeting it. And we are committed to ensuring that cocoa is produced sustainably. But we believe that if this sustainability could be achieved, then the focus and the conversation must not only be limited to the environment and then to the social issues, but the economics of it is equally important, because a farmer who is well remunerated, a farmer who is compensated for the effort put in, will be prepared to do the right thing. There are those who say, oh, children are getting into cocoa farms, the children are participating. What we have said is that in a situation where a farmer is well paid, where a farmer is compensated adequately, the farmer is motivated to take the child to school and will not ask the child to go to the cocoa farm or will not go into the forest where the farmer is banned from going because it's an illegal act. So it is equally important that the farmers are also adequately compensated for their effort and then ensure that the farmers also stick to the rules and then stay in business by doing the right thing.
That was Stephen Boafo. He is the head of public affairs at the Ghana Cocoa Board.